Hi guys! So in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make not only my base that I made. You may have seen my video which was how to make a plushie pattern, and I basically taught you through my process of making my plushie patterns, and this was the outcome of that pattern. So I'm teaching you how to make this, but I'm also teaching you how to make 3 other patterns mixing up my plushie pattern, my new plushie pattern, and a couple of my old plushie patterns. So a few things to mention. This one in particular, the neck is a little bit thick, so if I was to do this again I'd shape the neck a bit more. This one and this one. The fabric I used is like a beige suede fabric, and I will link it in the description. It's just a very tricky fabric to work with, and it stretches really easily. So like I think one side can get bigger than the other. When you're stuffing it, it could end up sort of hunched over a little bit. But it is a really nice and soft fabric. By all means you can still use the 3 other patterns that I used in my first House to Make a Base video, but I'm just trying to, vary up. So I really hope you enjoy the video, and thank you very much for watching. Okay, so this is the pattern that I created in my video how to make a plushie pattern. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to cut out the amount of pieces that I've written on each pattern. If you're using a fabric that's not double-sided, you'll want to make sure to occasionally flip over parts of the template so that there's like one for both sides, if that makes sense. You're going to need is 2 pieces for the back of your head. I like to cut out the hair colour for this, because this way when you're adding strands to your plushie, when you're making the hair for the plushie, you then have like the base hair colour already there. You won't see bits of skin coming through making it look bold. I'm very sorry, I recovered from a cold, so if I sound a bit weird, that is why. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to sew all the pieces together, and then I'll stuff them and like arrange them together. So what I do is I start pinning these down together. So for the legs here, pin them this side and this side. For the feet you can just pin them anywhere, and it's just, you'll be sewing all the way around, leaving a hole in the top. The arms are different because you basically want one short side of the shirt, one short side and one long side for the arm. It's not that much different, you just match it up on the hands there, and all you'll be doing is having sort of an extra gap up top here, as you can see. So when you turn it over and he'll be facing this way on the torso like this, you've got one longer piece to reach up to the shoulder here and a shorter piece to reach down to the armpit there, so it just fits onto your base easier. And finally the torso, I tend to pin it in the areas where I need to sew. Now here is a bit tricky, I put it in the middle here just to keep them shut, but it's this side and this side, not the neck here, and the armholes leave open. And sort of like the crotch bit here, and you'll need to keep like the leg areas open. Here you have your face pieces. Now the first thing that I suggest to do is to sew these 2 darts together. So just pin this line here, and then we'll sew them together on the machine before we start pinning the other places down. Okay, so now what we start to do is we start to sew. So I'm going to start with the legs. So basically for the legs you sew along this side and this side here where I've just pinned. So for the feet, just go all the way around and just leave a gap in the top, or wherever in part of the circle. There's not really a top, is there? Okay, so for the arms you just literally go around the outside as well. And finally the torso, so you just sew where it pinned here along the sides, these bits, and just the crotch here. Okay, so now you sew these two parts together, you fold them back around like this, so now they look like this. So then what you need to do is you just need to start attaching all the pieces together. You attach one side of these together, just pin them down. And for here, the chin, try and make it as even as possible so it's got to sort of match up evenly across here like this. So then this one will go on top of the head around here, but it will then attach to sort of the chin piece, but we only will sew up to here, so there'll be a little hole here underneath the chin where we can stuff, turn inside out, etc. So what we should do first is sew these pieces together, these pieces together. So now that you've sewn these, it's time to pin the final parts together. Just remember, soft sides down all the time. For fleece, it doesn't really matter. There's a slightly smoother side and a slightly more fleecier side. Now what you do is you just attach these head pieces together. So just sew all the way around here now. Okay, so now all you need to do is turn these pieces inside out, and I like to use a chopstick to help me with that. Helps me with the small areas like the thumb. Okay, so now all you need to do is start stuffing the pieces. Again, I use the chopstick to help with smaller parts like here. So what you need to do next is you need to use the ladder stitch to close up the gap of the feet, and I use this stitch in my video how to make a base plushie. So next what you need to do is you need to pin the bottoms of the legs to the feet here. I do this first so that I can then sew the legs onto the body like easier. Make sure that the edges are sort of folded inwards. So next all you have to do is now ladder stitch this on and go around as tight as possible. If you feel like you need to, you can go around a couple of times just to make it extra secure. Okay, so just continue pinning parts together and ladder stitching them on basically. Pin this edge together and then you just need to ladder stitch it together. Okay, so now you've got your head completely done. All you need to do is pin it to the neck and then ladder stitch it on around, just like you did in my first base video. And again, go around a few times just to make sure it's secure. Okay, so one last thing I like to do just to finish off the base is I like to add fingers and toes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3 lines of thread on the feet and 2 lines of thread on the hands, and I do that by just looping it round. So I'll just show you how to do that now. So get a really long piece of thread, and it's the same process for each like hand and feet. It's just more lines on the feet. So what you do, go on one side and out the other. Pull it all the way through until the thread is just inside the hand, and then go back in. Match it up with where you came out on the other side. Pull it through again, and try not to pull it too tight to start with, otherwise it will come out. Sort of arrange it where you're happy. Just pull it slightly tight while holding your thumb on this top piece of thread here, and then go in again. Line it up with the other piece. Now you can start pulling it a bit tighter. So gradually as you go along you can start pulling it tighter. And you just keep repeating this process until you pull it really tight and it doesn't come loose. And then it just separates the bits of fabric there to create an indented finger shape. So when you want to go over onto the next finger, you can just, as if you was to go over and in, but instead of going out of this side, you go underneath and across to the side that you're already on. And then that easily creates the space for you to create your next shape for the next finger. Okay, so now your little base plushie is done. So this is my new pattern that I created in my video showing you guys how to make your own pattern, and this is the pattern I made in that video. Of course I have my other video, how to make a base plushie, which shows you some easier patterns than this one to sew together, but I think that actually you'd be able to merge the two if you wanted. So I'm also going to show you 3 other different ways to make a base plushie with the kind of patterns that I've got, so mixing all of them except like the tiny one that I did, because the tiny one I was happy with how it was. but I really like this new head that I made for this pattern. It's way more shaped and it's kind of cuter in my opinion, and it goes better onto the neck. So I'm going to try doing different combinations. I'm going to do the head with this chibi base. This was my most popular one in my how to make a base plushie video, and I've made many plushies out of this pattern. And I'm also going to use this template with the head and then these feet with that template, because these feet are slightly smaller and I use the colour of the shoes. The shoes are straight onto the to the base of it, rather than putting shoes on over the feet like I do here, which is actually like really time consuming and not really necessary. This plush that I'm going to be turning him into actually wears flip-flops, so I've kept the feet for that one. So I'm going to try that, and I'm also going to use this pattern again and fold back the arms and use the arms that I used here because they go on sideways like this. So I'm going to use the head and the arms on sideways for another one. So I'll just show you how to make these, but it's all like the same methods that I've made in the past. So basically I'll be doing the same techniques, I'm just like mixing them up with each other. So hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing.